Call the council meeting to order tonight. We have a quorum present. Tonight will be led in the invocation by retired Pastor Fred Springer, and after the invocation we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this time I'd ask everyone to please rise.
Let us pray. God of all creation, we're in awe and in wonderment of that to which we are available and have been gifts of your goodness and your grace. For the seed that is planted in the spring sprouts and brings forth new life. The robin lays an egg and hatches to reproduce itself. The silence of quietness is interrupted by the chirping of creatures of all of species. God, we are privileged to live in a world that is filled with opportunities in which to cultivate our interests and our lives in such ways to be meaningful and purposeful, both to enjoy and to share. We give thanks, O Lord, for those who have worked and struggled to make Sioux Falls a good place to live and enjoy the benefits of life. We give thanks for people of vision and insight who have dreamed dreams and planned for things to come to make this a good place. We give thanks for those who have served and those who serve now on the Council of Governance. And we honor those who have presented themselves to the public and elicited public trust to serve in leadership positions. And we ask, O Lord, that the spirit of public service prevail as this council deliberates issues and concerns of its citizenry. Bless and uphold the dignity of each as they enter the struggles of making decisions. And may that which is done be to your honor and glory as it provides for the good of all your people in this city. Blessing and honor, glory and power be unto you, O Lord, who provides beyond all that we can ask or think. It is in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ that we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first proclamation tonight is National Volunteer Week. So, Sarah, would you come on up with a helpline here, please? Let's come on up. The proclamation reads, whereas every community member can effect positive change with any volunteer action, no matter how big or how small. Whereas volunteers can connect with local community service opportunities through hundreds of community service organizations like volunteer centers, whereas millions of volunteers working in their community utilize their time and talent daily to make real difference in the lives of children, adults, and the elderly. Whereas during this week, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. Whereas the giving of oneself and the service to another empowers the giver and the recipient. Whereas experience teaches us that government by itself cannot solve all of the nation's social problems. Whereas our country's volunteer force, which is over 64 million people, is a great treasure. And whereas volunteers are vital to our future as caring and productive nation. Now, therefore, I, Dave Munson, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim April 27th through May 23rd as National Volunteer Week in Sioux Falls, and I urge all citizens to volunteer and inspire by example in our community. By volunteering and recognizing those who serve, we can replace disconnections with understanding and compassion. And congratulations. Dwayne Stahl for the City of Sioux Falls. We have Arbor Day proclamation. Come on up. And this proclamation reads, whereas this year we celebrate the 136th anniversary of Arbor Day, whereas the National Arbor Day Foundation promotes the planting of trees, whereas Americans are outdoor-loving people and at every opportunity turn to natural beauty for relaxation and enjoyment, whereas tree shelters and beautify our homes, shade our streets, give charm to our parks, and add character to our landscapes, whereas tree planting is an important activity assuring America's beauty, whereas the City of Sioux Falls will commemorate Arbor Day by the planting of 304 trees on city parkland, whereas the Sioux Falls Park and Recreational Board encourages all citizens to plant, maintain, and nurture trees. Now, therefore, I, Dave Munson, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2008 as Arbor Day in the City of Sioux Falls. Thank you. Tanya Draper Douthit, if you come on up. And we have a proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month here, and it reads, whereas Rape and Domestic Abuse Centers has addressed sexual assault service and prevention for over 30 years in our area, serving 233 survivors during FY 207. Whereas sexual assault affects every person in Sioux Falls, either as a victim, survivor of a sexual assault, or as a family member, significant other, friend, neighbor, or co-worker. Whereas many citizens of our country are working to provide quality services and assistance to sexual assault survivors through the staffing 24-hour hotlines, responding to emergency calls, and offering support, comfort, and advocacy during initial reports to law enforcement, medical exams, and criminal justice proceedings. Whereas volunteers, paid professionals, survivors, and community allies are working tirelessly to promote sexual assault awareness by offering educational programs to schools, churches, and civic organizations, as well as professional training to medical, mental health, law enforcement, education, and criminal justice personnel regarding sexual assault issues. Whereas wearing a teal ribbon will represent support against sexual assault. Whereas the voice of survivors offer us important insights into the personal pain and loss that victims endure, and are voices that deserve our country's attention and respect. Now, therefore, I, Dave Munson, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim April 2008 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Sioux Falls in collaboration with Rape and Domestic Abuse Center. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Jamison?
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Are there further motions for the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson? Yes. Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. 8 approved. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved, Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Benninger?
Benninga seconded it. Further motions?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to move items 43 and 44 right after the public input, which would be ahead of number 8, to accommodate some school children who are with us tonight, as well as an out-of-town guest who needs to make a lengthy drive home.
Okay, that's your motion. Knutson moves. Is there a second to that
Second,
motion?
Litz.
Who seconded that?
Litz.
Let's. Okay, the motion. Okay, Nen. Further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion to move items 43 and 44 up, we'll vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted. That motion has been approved 8-0. Any other motions for the regular agenda? Seeing none, we have a motion been made and seconded to approve the regular agenda as amended. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted. Regular agenda has been approved as amended 8-0. Now is the time that we set aside a period of 5 minutes that anybody wishes to address the council. And what we just ask is give your name and your address. So at this time, does anybody wish to address the council? I see no one coming forward, so we will move into the regular agenda. Item 43.
A resolution approving Phase 3 placement of the Community Youth Mosaic on city property.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Russ Sorensen, representing the City Planning Office on this item. Along with me this evening is Lisa Brunick and Beth Babb from our Sioux Falls School District, who are art teachers. We have several high school students here this evening as well. Members of the Visual Arts Commission include Cisa Cooper, Anita Keeley, Anne Marie Davis, and Chris Carmody Reeves here this evening, and Sioux Empire Arts Council Representative Deb Klebanoff. At your April 7th meeting, this student and community partnership project was presented to you. This evening is a resolution for your consideration to approve the placement and the installation of a proposed community youth mosaic Phase 3 on city property. The mosaic is located along the East River Road between 9th Street and Faywick Park, and it's an existing retaining wall. Phases 1 and 2 were approved by the council, and construction was in 2006 and 7 respectively. This project, under the guidance of Lisa Brunick, art educator, and Beth Babb, Joe Foss School art educator, includes several hundred high school students who have created a work of art celebrating diversity and unity in our community. Phase 3 of the mosaic wall measures 180 feet in length and 4 feet in height. Additionally, a named section measuring approximately 38 feet by 3 feet in height will consist of 2 marble plaques that have been engraved and will explain the project's history and express the students' gratitude to their community about this project. It would fill the space just to the left side of the existing Phase 1 wall between the parking ramp and the mosaic wall structure. The Sioux Empire Arts Council has again agreed to assist in this project and coordinate the mosaic wall. On March 18, 2008, the Sioux Falls Visual Arts Commission reviewed the proposal and its placement and recommended that Phase 3 of the mosaic wall project be approved by City Council. Along with me this evening are those representatives, and should they have any comments, they could come forward. That concludes staff's report, unless there are questions.
Thank you, Russ. Questions of Russ on item number 43? Others that wish to address the council on item number 43? Name and address, please.
My name is Emmett Reistroffer. I reside at 920 South 4th Avenue. I'm a student at Joe Foss School. I'm here to speak on behalf of all of the students who have contributed to the Community Youth Mosaic. I can say that we're all very proud of the elementary and grade school students who have already contributed to the first 2 sections, and we're anxious to let the high school section be completed. It's been a vibrant addition to the Sioux River's West Bank and downtown, and I hope that you'll approve the final section so it can continue to be a vibrant addition to the river. And I think if the city approves this, it'll reflect the city's appreciation for diversity as we grow and reflect the city's appreciation for student artwork. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. You did an excellent job
Thank you.
representing your student. Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Brunick. I'm the art teacher at Hawthorne Elementary School. My address is 3514 Matthew Drive, and I am here just to express my huge gratitude to my city and my students for allowing us to continue this project. I never in a million years dreamt that this would have happened. My young students are so proud of themselves they can hardly stand it, and now they're bragging up the high school kids already. It's not on the wall yet, but we can see it there. So I have a drawing of it, if you'd like me to share it.
That'd be fine.
Okay, it's really long. So.
Might go around this way so the audience can see it.
Are there other questions of Lisa or Emmett? Not. Thank you very much. Emmett, you really did a good job. Very good. And others that wish to address the council on item number 43? Not. Is there council action or motion?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Second?
Brown, second.
Brown seconds. Motion been made and seconded to approve item 43. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Benninga.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 43 has been approved 8-0. Item 44.
A resolution approving visual art wall on city property.
Good evening again. Russ Sorensen with the City Planning Office, representing this item. Along with me are the members of the Visual Arts Commission and the Sioux Empire Arts Council, and our artist from Bath, South Dakota, Mr. Matthew Cargill. We appreciate the opportunity this evening to present the visual art project resolution. This evening, you are requested to consider approving the placement and the installation of a proposed visual art wall to be located on city property along the west side of North Phillips Avenue, north of 5th Street, along the curved roadway just before the railroad trestle. The City Council adopted a resolution in August of 2007 establishing a project for North Phillips Avenue art in this capital improvements program. In keeping with the policy for art placement in or on city property, a call for art and a separate jury panel process was conducted via the Visual Arts Commission for this project. The Visual Arts Commission received 10 responses to their calls for art. It was conducted back in December of this year, of 2007, and conducted to January of 2008. The 10 submittals were reviewed by various city staff and boards, and the city comments were forwarded to the Visual Arts Commission and the jury panel as well. A separate 5-member jury panel convened on January 30th and made their recommendations available to the Visual Arts Commission. At their February meeting, the Visual Arts Commission considered and accepted the recommendations of the jury panel and the subcommittee. The Visual Arts Commission determined that the project submittal E, known as In Verite Concordia, or Latin for unity and diversity, was their preference, but expressed their approval subject to meeting the artist. That was done back in March 18th. The project description: a visual art wall will measure approximately 8 to 9 feet in height and be 38 feet in length and 2 feet in width, per this model that we have here before you this evening. It will be set on a gray colored concrete foundation and base, and it will be extended beyond both ends of the wall. The cube ends of the wall will be slightly curved inward so that it will be parallel to the curvature of the road. The visual art wall will be set back a minimum of 10 feet, as recommended by the Parks and Recreation staffs and the planning staffs, so that to accommodate sidewalk maintenance and any future North Avenue parade events and bystanders. The wall will entail 4 brushed powder-coated aluminum openings, and the 4 colored cranes will also be steel powder-coated as well. There'll be 2 by 2 foot stainless steel wall panels that will be screwed onto a metal substructure. Each of the panel will have a certain directional grinding finish to have texture and a patchwork effect to give us that diversity theme that we're all united in diversity here. The artist will be responsible for the wall project construction, the production, the placement, and the installation, not to exceed $50,000. We're hoping to get your review and approval this evening, and the project, to go forward, would be received and completed late fall. The Visual Arts Commission, they've accepted the recommendations, and they respectfully recommend their approval of this project known as In Verite Concordia by Matthew Cargill for the visual art wall. This time I'd like the artist, Matthew, to come forward. He's a professor of art at Northern State University, and he's traveled a long ways today to be here before you. And he would like to describe some of the aspects of the piece. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Russ.
Matt Cargill from Bath, South Dakota. This was my proposal for the diversity wall. Kind of considering it, I didn't want to have a strict wall per se, because walls are barriers, and in diversity you don't want barriers. So I felt it was very important to have it broken up. The whole theme came from looking at diversity, and it's such a wide theme. I kind of tossed a lot of ideas around, came up with the idea of cranes. Looking at the Japanese origami cranes, the legend says that if one folds 1,000 paper cranes, they're granted a wish. I thought that what a great idea for diversity, a wish for unity, a wish for understanding. The colors for each of the crane actually come from culture very close to here, the Sioux Nation, and the legend of the white buffalo woman and the colors that the buffalo changed after she came to the Sioux people. So we have cultures from two sides of the globe coming together in this one sculpture. The four colors representing the four colors of man. It's also the four colors of the medicine wheel that we're probably all familiar with. Also then, these will actually be silver, the frameworks, a powder-coated aluminum rather than white, and they'll be 2 foot by 2 foot squares instead of block shapes. So just to clarify that.
Questions of Matt? Not, thank you very much. Appreciate your work. Others that wish to address Kermit?
You have a question for Russ. When you requested proposals for the artwork, did you request a theme of diversity, or is this just how this worked out?
We requested a theme of diversity
Okay.
as part of our RFP to the public, and it went through the various state organizations and artists or associations in our community as well as in our state.
And just one other question, too. Just a few minutes ago, we got to see what the new wall's going to be with the students there. Also, the theme of diversity. I'm just wondering about, we have this theme of diversity here on North Phillips. Then we have this other theme of diversity over by, the Big Sioux River. Was there any thought about maybe really trying to get a diversity theme in one area of the city instead of maybe spreading it out a little bit?
Well, as a people, we come from all many different places, and it's great that we can come to this community, and we'd like to show the diversity throughout our community, and what better way to have it located throughout our community rather than in one focused, concentrated area. The theme of diversity is that we're all different in the sense of who we are and where we come from, but we're all one as one people.
Sure. And also maybe just in the future with different artwork, you can also talk about unity of theme, too, instead of having this theme here and then another theme here, so forth. So, I understand where you're coming from, too.
The Visual Arts Commission will certainly take that under advisement in future RFPs as well.
Further questions, Russ or Matt? Not. Is there council action or a motion by the council?
Move for approval, Benninger.
Second, Costello.
Costello, Benninger made the motion. Costello seconded. Further comments on that motion?
There would be one, when we went to the briefing, we indicated to you that it would be a stainless steel material. The amendment to your resolution that we provided you is that it would be a powder-coated aluminum material. That's the only change since the briefing.
Okay, we got a motion been made and seconded to approve item 44. Do you need amendment now?
I'm looking at Deborah.
I'm sorry, I was just noticing the resolution. Was there another change, just so we get it right on the final version? Were there the birds, were they going to
The birds will be constructed of powder-coated steel.
Is that okay in there? That's it.
That's how it is now. Just want to make
Yes.
sure it's amended.
So do we need an amendment?
Yeah, we need to make amendment.
Need amendment to the silver?
Yeah, amendment to change the 4-brush stainless steel cubes to the now powdered coating, if that's correct, Mr. Sorensen, and then also to change the mild steel powdered coated cranes to the stainless steel version, and that's how the final resolution. We just want to get it right for the record.
The 4 cranes to be constructed should be of powder-coated steel.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a motion to amend?
So moved as stated.
Second change.
That's good. Who seconded?
Jameson seconded. Okay, we got a motion been made and second to amend. Further comments on that motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Benninga.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted. Amendment has been approved 8-0. Now we're back to the main motion as amended. Further comments on the main motion as amended? Not all in favor of approving item 44 as amended will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Benninga.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 44 has been approved 8-0 as amended. Item number 8.
New 2008 retail liquor license for El Corona LLC, named to be determined to be operated at 2401 East 10th Street, Suite 101, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals, pending final corrections per fire. Rescind 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for Maria Cruz Crespin, Los Pasonos Restaurant, 2401 East 10th Street, number 101. New 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for Doug Quaker, Brenda's Broken Arrow, to be operated at 323 South Phillips Avenue, including video lottery terminals. 11, new 2007-08 retail malt beverage license for Patricia L. Bender, Brickhouse BBQ, to be operated at 196 East 6th Street, with the conditional use permit being approved on 3/5/08. 12, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Come and Go LC, Come and Go 616, to be operated at 6001 South Western Avenue. 13, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Come and Go LC, Come and Go 625, to be operated at 7100 West 41st Street. 14, transfer of a 2008 retail liquor license from Delta Investments, Inc., Boomers, 607 South Sycamore Avenue, South End, to MJ Ventures, Inc., name to be determined to be operated on the east side of Marion Road, approximately 1 block south of West 57th Street, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals, with the conditional use permit being approved on 1/2/08, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. 15, transfer of a 2008 packaged liquor license from G-Joe LLC, Puffin Stuff, 5108 North Cliff Avenue, to Bauer Enterprises LLC, Puffin Stuff, to be operated at 5108 North Cliff Avenue. 16, transfer of a 2007-08 packaged malt beverage license from G-Joe LLC, Puffin Stuff, 5108 North Cliff Avenue, to Bauer Enterprises LLC, Puffin Stuff, to be operated at 5108 North Cliff Avenue. 17, special one-day liquor license request for Great Bear Recreation Park, Inc., Great Bear Recreation Park, to be operated at 5901 East Rice Street on May 3rd, June 21st, and September 6/08 for wedding receptions. 18, special one-day liquor license for Hy-Vee, Inc., to be operated at the Old Courthouse Museum, 200 West 6th Street on June 20th, 2008 for a wedding reception. 19, special one-day liquor license request for Hy-Vee, Inc., to be operated at the Delbridge Museum of Natural History, 805 South Kiwanis Avenue on June 7th, June 21st, July 12th, September 6th, September 27th, and October 11th of 2008 for wedding receptions. 20, special one-day liquor license for Catering America LLC, Chef Dominique's Catering, to be operated at the Multicultural Center, 515 North Main Avenue on June 27th, 08 for a wedding reception. 21, special one-day liquor license for SMG to be operated at the Orpheum Theater, 315 North Phillips Avenue on May 24th, 2008 for a wedding reception. 22, special one-day liquor license request for SMG to be operated at Howard Wood Field, 2000 West Russell Street for the Sanford Festival on June 6th through 8, 2008. 23, special one-day malt beverage and wine license request for the Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues Society to be operated on June 18th through 19th of 2008 at Yankton Trail Park, 3901 South Minnesota Avenue for the Jazz Fest, and on September 27th, 2008 at Vern Eide BMW, 1500 South Minnesota Avenue for the Jazz and Brews fundraiser. 24, special one-day malt beverage license for the VFW Servicemen's Club to be operated at the Family Wellness Center, 8701 West 32nd Avenue, on June 7, 2008, for the Tour Dakota. 25, special one-day malt beverage request for downtown Sioux Falls as follows. May 3rd for Cinco de Mayo at Falls Park, June 16th for Automania on Phillips Avenue from 11th to 12th Streets, June 17th for Automania on South Phillips Avenue from 9th to 14th Street, Main Avenue from 10th to 13th Street, Dakota Avenue from 11th to 13th Street, and on 10th Street from Main Avenue to South Mall Avenue, 11th Street from Dakota Avenue to South Mall, 12th Street from Main Avenue to Phillips Avenue, and on 13th, half block between First Avenue and Phillips Avenue, and a half block between Phillips Avenue and Main Avenue. July 23rd, 08 for Hot Summer Nights on South Phillips Avenue from 9th to 14th Street, 10th Street from Main to First Avenue, 11th Street from Main to First Avenue, 12th Street from Main to Phillips Avenue, 13th Street from Main to First Avenue. 26, special one-day malt beverage and wine licenses for Senior Citizen Services, Inc. to be operated at the Center for Active Generations, 2300 West 46th Street on August 12th, 08 for Chamber Mixer.
Thank you, Jamie. Those were a lot, weren't they? Lori Hogstead with the City Finance Office representing items 8 through 26. I do have a couple of changes. Item number 10 will be withdrawn by the applicant. Mr. Koiker is going to reapply in a corporate name instead of just his individual name, and that has already been placed on the agenda as item number 3, and the hearing will be scheduled in just a couple of weeks. And then item number 25, the dates for downtown Sioux Falls, we have a correction in some of the dates. Item B, rather than June 16, should be June 17. Item C, rather than June 17, should be June 18. And item D, rather than July 23, should be July 16. And I can answer questions on the rest of the items.
Questions? Kevin?
Laura, I have a question with regard to item number 8.
Okay.
It's my understanding that conditional use permit for this location was approved back in September of 2001. That's the last conditional use that was approved for this location?
I don't have the exact date of the conditional use permit. I just know the conditional use permit was approved for this business only. And the reason that we did question this particular one, whether the applicant needed to go back for the conditional use permit. However, the current owner of the business, Maria Cruz Crespin, who's currently the licensee there, is part of El Corona LLC. And in talking to the planning office, it was determined at that time they did not need to go back for an additional conditional use permit.
If I could continue, Ms. Chair.
Sure.
The conditional use permit that I'm looking at was approved in September of 2001, and it was not for Ms. Crespin, but it was for a Jose Lugo for a La Bamba restaurant.
Okay.
Is that the last conditional use permit that was approved?
We would have to ask the planning staff that question. If Mike could answer that, possibly.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. Yes, that's my understanding that that was the last one.
So we've had a change of ownership, and we've had, to my knowledge, several changes in the names of the restaurants and the types of businesses that have been in there in the last 7 years.
I think they've all been Mexican restaurants, just been various family members, et cetera, running the businesses. Gets to be a little tough to keep track of sometimes. But yeah, it's been the same type of restaurant, just brothers or different relatives taking over the business.
Does Gary Cohn still own the property?
I don't know who owns the property. They're just required to indicate if they're the owner or lessee, and they're the lessee.
And now, according to our agenda, the petitioner is a Doug Hendricks. How did Mr. Hendricks become involved in this establishment?
Well, it's actually, the corporate name is El Corona LLC. He is one of the officers of El Corona, as is Maria Cruz Crespin. And he received, when we had our population numbers reevaluated, and we received 4 additional licenses based on the change in our population figures, we used 90% of that number, and one of those licenses went to Doug Hendricks. Was first on the list of 4 to apply for those particular licenses. So that's where the new liquor license came from.
And do you know when this LLC was created?
I don't. We could ask the applicant. Doug is here if you'd like him to come up.
I would.
Okay, Doug.
Doug
Hello.
Hendricks.
When did the El Corona LLC, when was it created?
It was recently created. Oh, I'm sorry. Recently created, but as with other businesses I've been involved with, I mean,
I'm sorry?
it's an LLC doing business as Las Posinas restaurant.
So the restaurant will now, you will maintain a restaurant at this location?
Oh, absolutely.
But you will be adding liquor
Yes.
and video lottery terminals?
Well, video lottery is, it's not an option that we want to, or it's an option that we would want to have, should we choose to.
Question for the city attorney. On a conditional use permit with alcohol, aren't they always limited to the person that applied originally?
That is generally the case, but there are some times that they're not, I'm told by the planning department.
Does an LLC justify a change in ownership?
A limited liability corporation is a different owner than the one whose name is on the conditional use permit. And Doug, will you be the managing shareholder of the LLC?
Yes.
So we've got a new managing shareholder.
Well, I'm a member of the LLC.
But the LLC has to designate a managing shareholder.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't, I didn't realize this was even going to be an issue until Friday, and actually today, I guess. I don't see this as any different than like when we were issued the license for Boomers. I mean, it was issued to me. I was a partner in a company doing business as Boomer's Place that was approved for a conditional use permit for alcohol, and we went through the process there. I see this as being the same. I am a partner in this, as I was a partner in that. I know earlier when I was watching the informational meeting, I mean, it was brought up something about a loophole. I mean, this is not, I'm following the rules. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm not looking for a loophole. This is a legitimate, as we were talking about earlier, diverse restaurant. It's a Spanish restaurant. And we want to expand it, maybe expand the business model. Someday maybe even if it works, the model, a bigger location. But it is an accessory use to a restaurant. It's a competitive market, and if at this point, I mean, we're tomorrow it's going to be just like it is today, short of doing quite a bit of remodeling. We have the laws allow us, should we apply for, if we want to, apply for video lottery with the state. We haven't done that yet.
Kevin?
Doug, as long as I have you here, you made reference to one of the lottery licenses, the retail liquor licenses that you were awarded in our lottery.
Yeah.
Item 14, I believe that's one of those licenses. Is that not correct?
Yes, it is.
I followed the application that you submitted to us, and you went through the conditional use process, got approval for the license to be located at 607 South Sycamore.
We didn't go through conditional, excuse me, that's when we were going to move. But the license was originally located at 4408 East 26th Street without going through the conditional use process.
So what has happened
Or
with
planning
the
and zoning, I should say.
607 South Sycamore location? Now you're taking that license in and you are transferring it to another corporation?
Yes.
What happened to the 607 South Sycamore?
Well, those negotiations for the lease didn't materialize like we thought. And it was a different corporation with different partners than this item number 8.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the City Attorney's Office. Under our ordinance that allocated the licenses, were we not requiring the applicants to submit within 45 days their business plan and their location and name of the business?
I believe that is correct. That's my recollection.
Is there anything in that ordinance that says after we approve that they have to go through with it?
I don't think so. No.
So, in other words, you can come up with whatever your plan is to get it approved, and it's inconsequential after that whether you actually go through with it or not.
Actually, we did lose our lease at Hy-Vee.
I understand that. I'm talking about the 607 South Sycamore plan that you submitted to us.
Right, that we were planning on moving to. There were contingencies in that, of which, how much money do you spend on architects and engineers and attorneys and so forth until you actually have the approval? And we had a letter of intent, and, well, as far as all the details, I'd rather not discuss those in public, but as far as the negotiations, how that didn't materialize.
Bob James.
Happy to go.
Question for Lori or maybe for Gary. In the past, we've approved at this council changes in ownership. Does the change from a single applicant to an LLC constitute change in ownership?
Yes. Yes, it does.
If the single applicant is a member of a shareholder, a partner, whatever you wish to call it, in the LLC, I believe under the rules of the Department of Revenue, that would be considered the same owner. Am I correct in that, Lori?
It would be considered the same owner, but the state would require a transfer. The only time they would not require a transfer is if, for instance, the corporation was already formed, El Corona LLC, and they could completely flip officers, take, 5 people out and put 5 other people in, and the transfer would not be required in that case. But when they're going from a single owner, even if I owned a business and then I formed a corporation, I was the only corporate officer, I would still have to transfer.
What I'm leading up to, does that make the original application proper?
The original application for the liquor license?
Yes.
Yes, because it doesn't say it has to be in an individual's name. I mean, all of my liquor licenses are in corporate names or LLCs or partnerships. I don't have any that are just in a person's name. Their names are listed as the corporate officers. Some of the beer licenses are just in individual names, but that's also because they're not worth as much money. They're $295 versus whatever they paid,
Okay, thank you.
And just one quick note on the boomers, on the original, on item 14 that you were asking about, they actually received one of the new liquor licenses and used it at the old boomers location before they moved it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
before they moved it, or were going to move it to the 607 South Sycamore location. So it was used. They were open, operating at the former Boomers location. I just wanted to clarify that.
Other questions? Other questions on any from item 8 through 26?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Lori, I was listening very carefully to what you said, but following up on Councilor Kavanaugh's questions, I too have some concerns. I mean, from a perception standpoint, it almost appears that the applicant has formed an LLC to work his way around the real rules. And in your opinion, well, I guess I'm wondering, I was wondering what your opinion was about that. I'm struggling a little bit on this one also.
I know, it's tough. You know, I was talking to Gary today, and I mentioned to him that Maria Cruz Crespin, whose restaurant this is, has housed a retail liquor license in the past. And I went back and looked, and it was in 2006. There was a liquor license that was transferred to her, and that was the one that was at the Mad Rock Pub down on North Phillips Avenue. And at that time, the liquor license was transferred to Maria Cruz Crespin, and then she rescinded her beer license. And then in 2007, in September, in the fall of 2007, then that license was transferred from Maria. And let's see, that went to KBG Gaming for the Deuces Casino on East 26th Street. And KBG Gaming is Bryant Soberg, Kirby Meilenberg, and John Madlin. So there has been a license. I don't know if housed is the right word, but it was kept there for a temporary period of time until such time as they moved it. And I've never met Maria, so I'm not sure what her business plans are.
That's not our.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. Yes, I can see why it's difficult for you to sometimes keep track of all of this.
Yes.
I have one other question,
Go ahead.
Mayor. For the applicant, please, Mr. Hendricks, I am at times I'm wondering if the more appropriate route for the city council to go is to send this issue back to the planning commission as an LLC and go from there. And my question is, how much of an inconvenience would that be to you? And if that would be faulty thinking on my part, would you help me figure out where I'm making a mistake?
Well, I think it'd be an extreme inconvenience, and for more than one reason. I don't see this as any different than when we put the license from. I was awarded the license. I was a partner in Delta, doing business as Boomer's Place. This is almost identical situation. I have a lot of money invested here. The application has to be paid for. I mean, we paid for it when we made the application. And I've done, I mean, and to do, it's been published, and there's been all this time that the issue, I mean, I would have been happy to meet with every one of you individually or to answer anybody's questions, but to come up at the last moment here, not even getting an opportunity to seek legal counsel. I didn't think I needed it. I thought I'd done everything I needed to do. I followed all the rules. Was not looking for a loophole. And I don't think it would be fair, and I think it would be an inconvenience.
Thank you for answering that difficult question.
Lori?
The only difference is, and of course I have to give you all the facts on this, the main difference is that with Boomers, a conditional use permit was not required because it was grandfathered in. So there wasn't the issue of the ownership, who owned it, who the corporate officers were. And that's the main difference between this one and the Boomers, is that no conditional use was required for Boomers. But in this case, I think the issue lies with the conditional use permit. Who really owns that conditional use permit and who is entitled to the license? So that's the difference.
The property has
Kermit?
Yeah, I'm very concerned that you've been blindsided here tonight. You mentioned you just found out about this last Friday.
Yes,
Well-
and I called Lori just to make sure we'd had all our I's dotted and T's crossed, and she said, well, something came up, or somebody had a question, and she really didn't know much about it, and I should call planning or zoning, and I tried calling. I left 2 messages for Shauna, and she called me this morning and said that somebody had asked her a question, and I didn't know anything about it. I certainly could have addressed anything prior to this, and when it's been published, and if there were questions, I believe that I have, the lottery that the city council created. I've followed all the rules. I've done what I'm supposed to do. And if that would happen, then it's certainly not working, or it didn't work for me to be blindsided here at the last moment.
So you've known about this for less than 12 hours?
Yes.
Other question?
Well, excuse me. She told me about it on Friday. I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody about it until today.
But about the specifics?
And the specifics, I really, other than there was a question about the conditional use, and the property has a conditional use permit for on-sale alcohol, and so I couldn't get the question. I could not find out what the question was.
Kevin?
Just to be clear, I don't have any problem with the system that we set up under ordinance
I don't
to
either.
issue these licenses. You applied for it, you put your name on the list, you were drawn. My question has to do with whether or not you use that on your own, or you attach yourself through an LLC, taking on a partner at an existing location that does not have video lottery. That's my concern.
I guess I still don't understand the question.
Well, I had planning staff develop a map, and can we put that on the projector tonight? Here's what concerns me. I don't expect everybody to read this and understand it immediately, but if we're looking at the center of this circle, that's 10th and Lowell Avenue. Within 2 blocks of where you propose to put this casino, there are 5 other video lottery establishments. Within a 1-mile radius, which is that circle, there are a total of 23 video lottery establishments. My concern is that we're overly concentrating, particularly in this area. If you look at the red dots, it's fairly obvious to me. And that particular location, that business, as it exists today, could not have video lottery under our current ordinances. And this is the only way that video lottery can be put into that location, is to have a full liquor license. My concern is the over-concentration. I'm also suggesting that an 8-year-old conditional use that was granted to somebody who isn't even here tonight, I don't know who this Jose Lugo is. He may or may not be related to Maria Crespin, but neither one of them are here. You are here, and I consider you the new owner of this place. And I think that constitutes a significant enough change that we need to go through a public review process so that the neighbors who live around this area can know what's going on.
Well, there again, I wish I would have been informed of this when I made the application.
If I could respond to that, Mr. Chair. I brought this to the attention of the planning staff and finance staff when I began to hear questions from residents of that area. And they began to know about this when the agenda was published, probably late last week.
Lori, you had indicated that we had actually transferred an alcohol license to this location under the very same conditional use permit in 2000, or when was it, in 2001, or?
It was in 2006.
Okay. And so now, it was okay for that license, but now it's not okay for this license? Is that what my
Yeah,
understanding?
I'm not, I would have to, I can't remember. On each of these, I check with planning staff. I get 10 calls a day on alcohol licensing, and I don't know how, well, this time I've got 19 applications in. Every time it's a new one or a transfer, the first thing I tell them, new ones always have to get the conditional use, but on a transfer, the first thing they have to do is contact planning and find out if they need to go through the conditional use process. Some of the conditional use permits have been issued for applicant only, and some have not. So there's not a consistency there, so we always need to check on each one. And I'm assuming that was done with KBG at that time.
And Mr. Hendricks, you contacted planning, and you were told that?
Yes, and Lori contacted planning, and her and Shauna, everybody agreed that we didn't need to give it.
We need to talk into this.
I'm sorry. Lori and I both spoke with planning, and they both received the same answer, that we didn't need to go through planning and zoning. So we would confirm that.
Dee and then Kevin.
Mr. Hendricks, and you may have just answered this question. Yes, I was wondering, just in light of all of the discussion tonight, which again does get rather complicated, and again, I am trying to vote correctly tonight, regardless of the fact that I hate video lottery with a passion, but I'm still trying to do what's legally correct here. So I want to just say that up front. But I guess I'm wondering, just in light of the ownerships and changes and the LLC bid and everything, I was just wondering if you ever seriously considered just going for a conditional use permit for this location, just to kind of get all of your T's crossed and I's dotted, so to speak.
Well, it would have been redundant. I mean, tomorrow the business is going to be the same as it is today, other than being able to offer the beverages that we'd like to offer that we feel would make us more competitive in the marketplace, and to raise awareness of our business model that we're.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I understand the business was, the same. I understand what you just said. I guess that's what I was, the reason I asked
So
that.
be redundant. And I've been through this before, and I just don't see the difference.
Okay, and the reason I was wondering if it maybe wasn't redundant was the fact that a single applicant versus an LLC, with the way the ordinance is written, I was wondering
if someone
if that
tells you
occurred
you
to
don't
you.
have to do that and to do this, I mean, would you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I would just have to study all the legal angles, and I'm no lawyer.
Yeah, I was certainly led to believe that it was unnecessary.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we would have.
Thank you.
As we
Kevin.
did with.
Kevin's next.
I have a question for planning staff.
Yeah. It's crowded up here.
It was noted earlier that some conditional use permits are approved for this establishment only, some are approved for this individual only. Can you explain to me the difference between the two and why we have two different scenarios?
When we go through a public hearing, obviously, we review these on a case-by-case basis based on the information that the applicant is providing, the location, the neighborhood concerns that might come up. And if there's a lot of neighborhood concerns, we tie it down tighter to an applicant only. This language goes back to 2001, and at that time we said business establishment. Today, if we were going through this, we would say for this applicant. So we haven't been consistent in the past, but we're trying to be more consistent.
So it's evolved over the years?
What's that?
So it's evolved over
Yes.
the years, your standards?
Yeah.
Well, how would you define an establishment? A location, a physical address, a menu?
It's primarily based on the people running the business, the ownership.
Okay.
Those factors.
So, to my knowledge, in my 7 years, I drive by that place almost every day. it has been under several different names. And I don't know whether ownership has changed hand, but it's certainly changed in terms of its scope. They've all been restaurants, but obviously there have been different managers, and now we find out that there will be yet another new management, Mr. Hendricks. I don't see where that doesn't change the scope of the conditional use that was approved to the extent that we need to go through the process again. Because I think it's always about giving the residents of that neighborhood the opportunity to comment upon this. How has it not changed the scope to such a degree that it doesn't require another conditional use review?
I think based on the testimony that we've heard tonight, the ownership, whether it's a single person or LLC, that our interpretation of the new ownership structure is that the current business establishment operators are still going to be involved in operating this business. But now they have new partners that are going to be helping them to manage this location. So that was an interpretation that we made based on the information that we were given. And we also haven't had, at least I'm not aware over the years that we've had citizen complaints or concerns about the operation or the type of establishment.
Pat?
Okay, I'm not an attorney, but it seems to me that it would be fairly easy to establish the lineage of the business. The conditional use permit is granted to this business establishment, which I assume would be the original petitioner, La Bamba. Then if La Bamba morphed, changed its name over years, and it's still the original corporation, business entity, whatever, then it shouldn't need another conditional use. If the business had been sold, a new corporation was formed, an individual, then that would be a different petitioner, a different business entity. And it just is astounding that we're getting to this hour of the process and we don't have the facts straightened out.
Okay, Kevin?
That is my contention, that we have a new ownership. A new corporation has been formed.
Ernie, did you have it? Okay, Kermit?
But that isn't the view of the planning department, is it? That we have a new ownership at all?
Again, the planning department advised the petitioner tonight that based on our information or our review of the information, that a new conditional use permit would not be required.
Yes. So we have the planning department agreeing with the petitioner. And the petitioner is not a lawyer. The planning department knows more about these processes than the petitioner. He's taking that on good faith, and I don't know what else he could do.
Well, I certainly appreciate Mr. Staggers now agreeing with everything the planning staff says, because it certainly has no history in the past of doing that. My point is this.
My point is this. Chair, I'd like to respond after that comment.
Let's not get personalities into this for the council.
We need to be clear as to who is the owner, who are the owners of this establishment, and what they're intending to do. My contention is that we have gone about as far, or are about to go about as far as we can from what was originally allowed there under the conditional use, and I want the neighborhood to have input on it.
Mr. Chair, I have to respond to that remark.
No, listen, that's one thing we don't want to do as council members is get into personalities.
We shouldn't have those remarks in the first place.
Let's not get into personalities.
That's right. We should not do this in the first place.
Let's go, Jared.
Mr. Hendricks, could you help me and just confirm that the new LLC has either Jose Lugo or Maria Cruz Crespin as investors in your new LLC?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on the application.
Further questions?
I want them there.
Pat?
Councilor Bennigan, you got those names off of the conditional use application?
No, I got them off my red notes.
Could you give them to me again, please?
Sure. Jose G. Lugo or Maria Cruz Crespin both at the same address.
Okay, well, Jose G. Lugo is the signature of this conditional use application.
Right, and Maria Cruz Crespin is a corporate officer of El Corona LLC, along with Doug Hendricks.
And who is Mr. Lugo then? Is he part of this corporation?
He's the original applicant
original
in 2001.
But is he part of this corporation?
No.
You said he was.
Then if he is not part of the original ownership,
Well, but what happened with that one is they switched and their sister took over, their brother took over, and when it's family like that, we're not required to have them go back before conditional use because they're essentially running the same business, they just happen to be the sister or brother, and that's what happened with this one a few times over.
Mr. Mayor, I think we've debated what the ownership issue is, and all of us probably have different insights or responses to that. I believe it's time to call for the question.
Is there a second to the call on the question? That's got to take precedence. Did you make one? Yeah, he made one. Is there a second to the call on the question?
Second, let's
second, so the question has been called. All in favor of calling the question will vote aye, yes, and the opposed, no.
Council members Costello?
No.
Jamison?
No.
Kavanaugh?
no.
Knutson?
No.
Litz?
aye.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Aye.
Brown?
No.
That motion fails, so we're back. Now, who was Pat, were you next?
Yeah, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Let's go to Bob Jameson. You'll come back to your thought.
Clarification, Lori.
Yes.
Do we have verification that these people were in fact related from the time Jose Lugo received his conditional use permit till today?
Do I have verification? No. No, I do not. No, I do
Mr.
not.
Chair, this is getting a little, yeah.
Bob, you finished? Okay, Jameson?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Kermit.
Yeah, I mean, this is getting a little ridiculous. Are we going to start giving DNA tests to people here to see if they're related to one another or not? I mean, the applicant has come before the council in good faith, and he has been instructed by the planning department. He does not have to do anything more. Why are we continuing with this?
If I could respond, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
We're not looking at DNA testing of anyone. The point is whether or not someone is gaming our system to provide for an establishment that would not be allowable under our current rules.
Okay.
So that's what I'm suggesting.
If I can respond, Mr. Chair, that's, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, we have Councilor Kavanaugh believing this person's gaming the system. But I think the most important thing is this person following the ordinances of the city of Sioux Falls? This person is following the ordinances. You might not like maybe something he might try to do in the future, maybe try to bring video lottery in, but he is following the ordinance of the city of Sioux Falls. And at the same time, we don't even know, as council members, what his future intentions are. He just simply wants to get the liquor license.
Bob, let's.
I have a question for the city attorney. Are the conditional use permits in these circumstances tied to suitability of character?
No, suitability of location is the sole purpose of the conditional use permit.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? If not, go ahead.
I guess I would just like to say that I have great respect for everyone in the planning department, but I do think as elected officials that that the buck stops with us and that we don't have to always agree 100% with what the planning department recommends. So I just want to say that for the record.
Okay, further questions? If not, wishes of the council. We've got 8 through 26, and what I'd like to do for sure on this is, and it'd be the wish of the council, but I'd like to just take 26 on its own, and then let me ask you a question, Lori,
Yes.
on we're going to withdraw item 14, and when you get to 25, do we have to have a amendment on those dates that change from June 17th and 18th and that?
We should, but the one we're going to withdraw is actually item 10.
10, okay.
Just so we don't pull the wrong one off.
Well, yeah, 10 is...
Yeah, number 10, and
10 is
he's
what I
going to
got. Excuse me,
reapply.
10 is
That's
what I got.
fine, that's fine.
So when we get to that point, we'll take and we'll amend after we get...
Maybe
motion
we
to
could do
approve.
8 and 9 separately since they're tied together.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was
Should
going
we
to
do
ask
those
the question,
separate?
how the council wants to do it. If they want to take and vote on 8 and 9 and then 14 separately. And
Mr. Chair?
Kevin.
I would vote to deny, I would move to deny both 8 and 9.
Okay, motion to deny. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion to deny has been made and seconded for 8 and 9. Everybody understand that motion to deny? Okay, any other questions? Not all in favor of denial will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
No.
Jamison?
No.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Stegers?
No.
Benninga?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
No. Okay, we've got back 8 and 9 is back on the agenda. And now, what do you want to do with 14? Anybody want to make a motion on that?
Move to deny.
Motion to deny, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion to deny, item 14. Further questions, all in favor of the motion to deny will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
No.
Jamison?
No.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Stegers?
No.
Benninga?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
No, so we're back. We've got all on the calendar now, and so now, is there a motion to approve 8 through 25?
I so move Knutson.
Knutson moved, is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconded. Now, is there a motion, we need a motion on, we know 10 is withdrawn, and on item 25, is there a motion to change the dates? Is it June 17th, June 18th, and then is it July 23rd to July 15th?
July 16th.
16th,
Yep.
okay, that's the 16th, and that's the only ones then?
That's correct.
That was all part of the second.
Okay.
Will someone make that motion to amend?
Yeah, I'm making that motion.
Costello made the
I'm
motion.
seconding Costello's
And
motion.
you seconded it. Knutson seconded it to amend the dates on item 25. All in favor of that motion will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Stegers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted, that motion has been approved. We're back to the main motion as amended to approve items 8 through 25 with 10 withdrawn. We'll take 26 separately. And we got the motion. All in favor of that motion to approve as amended will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
No.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Pass.
Stegers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members have voted, 7 yes, 1 no. Now, Councilmember Benninga will be excused from item number 26.
Do I have to take a DNA test?
You go on, you'll find out when you get out there.
No,
You
but
may.
I did put you at the
may
end
not.
so you could be part of all the rest of the discussion.
Okay. item
Move to approve
26.
item 26.
You made a motion? Brown made a motion, is there a second? Costello seconded it. All in favor of the motion to approve item 26, vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Stegers?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted, item 26 been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 27.
Deferred action, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at South Ebenezer Avenue and West Graceland Court from RD Residential and RA1 Residential District to the Bronto PD Plan Development District, petition number 2008-01-15, and amending the official zoning map of the city of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is located north of Skunk Creek and west of Interstate 29 and east of Marion Road. It is approximately 6.7 acres. This item had been requested for a deferral from the last council meeting so that we could consider the petition to vacate the street right-of-way, which has been approved by city council action. Brian Weissman, along with Paul Reynolds, are the petitioners, and this property is being impacted by the new floodplain maps along Skunk Creek, and as a result of the new maps, their footprint of land that's going to be available for multifamily has been changed. And so they've come in with a new plan that will require this to be rezoned, and their proposed site plan shows this property to be developed into approximately 144 apartment units. And the Planning Commission has recommended approval.
Questions of Mike on item 27D?
Yeah, Mike, just quickly, I can, I had heard a while back from one of the owners of one of the twin homes down there, and then I visited with him at some length, and he seemed frustrated with the communication with the applicants on this topic. And so yesterday after church, I just drove out there and showed up at his driveway and visited with him and his wife. And I guess I just wanted to say, they just still feel like that the applicant has not communicated very well with them. And if I lived in a twin home down there, I wouldn't be terribly excited about being surrounded more with more apartment buildings. So do they don't really have much say in this, I guess, or?
Paul Reynolds is here tonight, and I did indicate to him that he should specifically go talk to Mr. Bob Vaksic, if I pronounced the name right. So Paul is here tonight to give you a report on those conversations.
Okay, I tried to see if the Vaksics or whatever could come this evening, and they couldn't because of work. But it just seemed like the more frustration than need be if they had just been able to talk to each other more.
Further questions of Mike on item number 27? Vernon.
Mike, remind me, are they building up the levees at their cost in this area to take them out of the flood map?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they know for sure that will take them out of the floodplain?
Yeah, the new site plan will. They're going to go ahead and do this even in anticipation that someday the maps will change again when the flood project is done.
But before any building is done, the levees will be built?
No, they're going to raise their ground elevation to comply with the proposed new maps.
I thought
Yes.
they were adding. I was confused by that. Thank you.
Yes.
I was going to clarify, they're raising the ground, not building a levee.
Okay.
Right.
Bob Jameson.
Just for question, Mike, when is that road, Ebenezer, supposed to be completed? I believe it's Ebenezer.
We've been looking at that as a part of our CAP proposal, and so I would expect that's going to be in the near future. I don't remember the specific date that we had suggested by the developers, but there's interest now in getting that constructed, including the structure across Skunk Creek.
Okay.
I would say within the next year or two.
Thank you.
Is what they would like to see happen.
Further questions of Mike on item number 27? Others that wish to address the council on item number 27? Not. Is there council discussion or action? Thank you. Name and address, please.
Paul Reynolds with RCM Construction Services, 6809 South Minnesota. Here tonight on behalf of the Bronto Development Group, just to bring you guys up to speed, a little bit of history about this development area out there. The original development was to construct and sell twin homes out in that particular area. Unfortunately, the developer that was involved with that was unsuccessful at the time. My particular client started negotiations with the financial institute back in April of 2007 for that property. The final paperwork was basically completed in July of 2007. The development group's original plan was to stay consistent with the previous developer, construct additional twin homes out there and some condominiums over the balance of the 12 to 14 acre parcel. After procuring the property, the development group employed the services of a local contracting firm to finish the balance of the existing twin homes that were not completed by the previous developer. These townhomes are in various stages of construction and need to be completed to be put up for sale. Over the next 2 months, the current developer spent approximately $250,000 bringing these townhomes up to the point that they could sell them. While this work was being completed, the developer submitted an application to the city requesting a rezoning application from RS2 residential district to RA1 residential district. This application was officially approved by the city of Sioux Falls the first part of September of 2007. All was in line for the development to proceed forward. Unfortunately, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, came to talk to the city of Sioux Falls in late September of 2007. The intent at that point in time was to inform the city and the local counties of the new base flood elevations which FEMA would like to establish. These new proposed elevations have a great impact on this parcel of property located out there because it is right adjacent to Skunk Creek and the current levee system. For this development to move forward, it would need to raise the elevations of the building sites approximately 5 to 7 feet with fill materials in the area where these would be constructed. The Bronto Development Group has submitted an application to the city for rezoning the property and also to create a new planned development district to overcome these issues that have been brought forth by FEMA. The developers also worked and tried to address any and all of the neighborhood concerns related to this development. This would include the neighborhoods directly impacted in this addition and those just outside the depicted zone area. We have conducted 2 local neighborhood meetings in which all local neighbors in the surrounding areas were invited and were given the opportunity to give their input. We've worked with the city engineering department to make sure that the local residents who are not directly in this application's PD district have all their access issues addressed for them to enter and exit the area. Actually, the current roadways that are going into the development will stay intact except for the bottom half of the one roadway where the new multifamily units will be built. Some questions have been raised on how the balance of the development will be handled beyond this current application. Currently, the property is just over 12 acres. Our current application, as I think Mike referred to before, is just about 7 acres that we have in our PD district. It's unclear how the rest of this property is going to be developed out there because of FEMA, because of the levee system and the issues that the city has to tackle with that, and also FEMA and the federal funding mechanism that has to go through. The developer's long-term intent is basically to provide a high-level product out in this area of a multifamily development. We have researched and have received a market study for additional apartments to be constructed in this area. The current rent ratios in this area are extremely low. We have also worked with the city engineering department on the alignment of Ebenezer according to the study that was completed in 2003 by SEH. The developer has also agreed that the site development and building locations will be raised to accommodate the new base flood elevations, and the development sequence of this proposed PD will be addressed during the final development planning stages. A couple of questions that came up to Mike previous to me getting up here. As far as the levee system that's there, for us to construct anything, we have to raise everything. That's just the best way to take a look at it. We have had an opportunity to meet with Barbara Fitzpatrick, who is a regional director for FEMA. She was actually traveling through Sioux Falls. I believe it was in mid-February sometime. So as a development group, we had an opportunity to sit down with her, with our engineers, and with our architect. So we were able to address any concerns as far as an underground parking garage for the multifamily unit as well. So basically, we are following their guidelines that FEMA has established for the structures. Neighborhood concerns. We did have 2 neighborhood meetings. Everybody was allowed to attend. Everybody did have the opportunity to give their opinions. The one couple that you referred to before, I have had several conversations with him. One was at the neighborhood meeting just after it was over with. I went and had basically a conversation with him outside about it, gave him some information about what the overall plan of the area was. Also, I believe it was about a week ago, I had an opportunity to speak to him on the phone, addressing concerns as far as what the future development was going to take place out there. Also at that time, I identified what we were going to be doing, and I took the time to basically send him a plan of what all the information that we had also turned over to the city at that particular time. I know the great concern that some of those neighbors have that are on the east side of the development is what is the overall development going to turn out to be in the future? Well, if you can tell me tonight what the city's going to do with the levee systems, I'm sure the developer would be glad to come to the table and tell you what they'd like to do. But until we know what that's going to happen, that can't be answered. Questions?
D.
And not a question, but thank you for being here this evening and sharing more information, because, as a city councilor, you kind of know what you hear, but you don't always, know the other side. It's sometimes hard to know everything as a city councilor. But I think, too, that, I realize there's an association out there, but I think I sense it's not a very strong association when you only have 6 of these twin homes, and, only half of them are rented owned. And so I just sense that the association itself, as far as the neighborhood meetings and so forth, were maybe not real strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd also been told that, just through the grapevine, that 2 of the other owners who are elderly, like in their 80s kind of thing, were not supportive, and so I'm just trying to do my homework, so thank you.
Yep. As far as the people that are out there, we've tried to communicate with all of them the best we could.
And thank you very much.
Other questions of Paul? Pat?
On the property owners that are opposed to the plan, have they made demands on what they think their property's worth?
There has been some demands made, yes.
Did you find those to be excessive to their value?
I would say that their demand would be in excess of what the value of the appraised property would be.
Other questions of Paul? D.
But I think, Pat, on that question, is what I was just told by, the person who called me and visited with me for a long time, is that last valuation was around $225,000, but that, that now it would probably be closer to $160,000 to $170,000 with apartments going up. But, that's just what he thinks anyway.
If I could interject on that, as far as the value that's out there right now, with FEMA coming through and with those new elevations established, I would assume if you had got a professional appraiser out there that the value of those properties have gone down because of that. Everybody keeps on talking about the FEMA insurance rates that you have to deal with, federal insurance rates. That is an issue. That's why we tried to address that with FEMA directly when we went through the planning process of this.
Other questions? Cheryl?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Second, Costello.
Benninga moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Costello.
Costello, excuse me, Pat. Others wish to address councils? Seeing no one come forward, we've got a motion made, seconded to approve item number 27. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 27 has been approved 8-0. Item 28.
Deferred action, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 7400 West 22nd Street from the RS1 Residential District to the RD Residential District, petition number 2008-0209, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property consists of one existing single-family residence. It is located on the northwest corner of West 22nd Street and Sertoma Avenue. The petitioner is Verlin Fast. This item had been requested for a deferral from a previous council meeting by the city attorney's office to contact the attorney for 2 banks which are currently holding the sheriff's certificate to the property. And Gary Caldwell has emailed all of us the results of his research on that the banks currently have, or the attorney for the banks, there's no position on the rezoning request, neither supporting nor opposing. And therefore, we believe that we can go forward tonight and take action on this petition. This particular property has an interesting history to it. And if I could, I'll go through a real quick review. Back in 2001, Ronning Companies had petitioned the city to change the zoning of this corner from RD to RS1. So the property at one point was zoned for twin homes and even up to 4plexes, and the developer asked to change it back to single family because of the intended land uses, which were going to be all single family detached housing units. And that's the way that the property developed. In 2007, there was a petition by the current owner, Mr. Fast, to receive a conditional use permit for a daycare center. The Planning Commission voted to deny that conditional use. That request was then appealed to the City Council, but was withdrawn by the petitioner. That was in June of 2007. In August of 2007, another conditional use permit request was submitted by the current owner for an assisted living center. There were 3 stipulations or conditions of approval by the Planning Commission. This decision was appealed to the City Council, and that decision was affirmed to approve the conditional use permit for the assisted living center with conditions. And now the applicant has come forward with this latest request, which is to rezone the property to allow it to be used as a duplex. The Planning Commission, after reviewing this request, has made a recommendation to approve the rezoning by a split vote of 4 in favor and 3 opposed. The planning staff had initially made a recommendation to deny the rezoning because we felt that it was very clear that back in 2001, the intent of the developer running companies was to make this area an exclusive single-family residential development. So that in terms of supporting a zoning change, there would be typically 2 situations where it would be appropriate. One would be if the property was vacant and a new development was starting with a different model or land use plan, or if this was an older neighborhood where there was going to be a transition of existing uses to maybe a higher density development, such as around a hospital or other institutional uses. And we didn't feel that either one of those situations were applicable to this particular case. But obviously the Planning Commission did make their recommendation despite the staff recommendation. You also are aware that there's substantial amount of neighborhood opposition to this change in use, and you have been contacted by landowners, neighbors, both by letter, email, and maybe in some cases by verbal discussions. So that's the background that we have that we're presenting to you tonight.
Questions of Mike on item number 28. Pat?
Mike, back in 2001, when it was originally platted to be RS1, what was the surrounding zoning at that time?
Back in 2001, this particular development, the corner was shown as RD.
Okay.
And then the Ronning companies asked to change it to RS1, which is our most restrictive single-family residential zoning. So they were the owners, and they came in. They felt that the market out there was going to be more appropriate for single-family as opposed to twin homes.
Okay, and a follow-up question. On spot zoning, how does that work? I mean, because across the street to the east is all twin homes? And so that would be zoned, what?
That's zoned RD for twin homes.
And so this would be considered spot zoning?
Well, that was our recommendation because we're changing the zoning on just one property within an existing developed area, which typically you wouldn't see happen unless it was in an area that was going through some type of transition or transformation.
Further questions of Mike on item 28? Others that wish to address the council on item number 28? Name and address, please.
Verlin Fast, 7400 West 22nd Street. If I could just add to the zoning thing, when it was originally zoned in 2001, it wasn't just the corner lot, it was the whole perimeter around the school that was originally zoned RD. And one other question, that very good information that he had there. Like he just stated, the Planning Commission recommended approval on this, and one of Ken Dunham's thoughts at the commission meeting were why did we just approve this Ronald McDonald House infringing into an area that's totally surrounded by the single-family homes, but now we're considering not approving a duplex when there are 12 adjacent twin homes right across the street? Okay. At the last city council meeting, this Ronald McDonald House had neighborhood concerns in regards to the drainage, the lighting of a new parking lot. And you've heard this before. I'm not making any changes. I'm not adding a parking lot, no changes. And I just know you'll use the same standard on your decision tonight as far as one land use versus another land use versus Ronald McDonald infringing. I know that's an older area, but they're all single-family homes. Like it was already mentioned tonight, this property was originally zoned RD by the city. It is in an area that is considered a transitional land use area. These areas are always zoned RD. They're used to buffer the single-family homes in the city. It fits perfectly as a duplex to buffer the single-family homes that are behind me to the north. When Ronning Homes developed this area, they rezoned it to RS. That's already been said here tonight. When I initially contacted Chuck Point at Ronning and asked him about this rezone request, I was told that they would also remain neutral on that. Of course, Ronning may have changed his position a little bit. It's only been because of the relentless concerns of our neighbors. There's nothing I can do to satisfy my neighbors. I have tried. They're stating that this is supposed to have been single-family homes. My home is not within the single-family home area. It's on the corner with the busy stoplight in the school. This is a transitional area. This transition has occurred since I built the home. The stoplight's been added. The area's been changed. It makes the house not desirable. I've got a comment on this here. I'm trying to make it short here. Your time is valuable. It is to my understanding that the neighbors had notified the city attorney before the last city council meeting at 4 o'clock, stating that there might be a concerned party, this Deutsche Bank, which is an entity of Wells Fargo. The attorney doesn't even quite understand it. This gave the city attorney no time to check this out. I do understand that the item had to be deferred. This information could have been submitted earlier since it had been known for several weeks. This was only done as a gross intentional delay in my plans, and it wasted your city council time. This home can easily exist as is on an RS or RD zone property without affecting its value either way, or any of the other homes either way. With RD zoning, it would still be used for some time as a single-family home, but it would have the option to be used as a duplex. It remains the same legal description, same property. We have asked our neighbors respectfully to set aside the differences and all the drama that has taken place with the earlier proposals. It's my duty to make every effort possible to utilize this home. We have sent them cards, gift certificates. We've offered to restore friendships here. We've reassured them that we are not making any changes to the home, and we want to continue to keep it looking great. I was out on Sunday, the beautiful day. I have a hot water spigot in my garage, and I had my pressure washer out there. And I don't know if you know this, but any house that has a front porch, since it's not exposed to the weather as much, it really collects a lot of dirt and dust. And I know I'm the only one that has gave their house a hot bath already this first spring cleaning here, pressure wash. And lastly here, it's not a desirable home as a 6,000 single-family home on a corner lot with everything that's going on, the stoplight, school, church. The duplex seems to be the friendliest use for this property. That's one reason for the changes that I made in my request, going from daycare, assisted living, now a duplex. That seems to be the easiest, softest use for the property. It's a transitional land use area, and I just respectfully ask that I could have it zoned that way so I could use that property in that manner.
Questions of her?
Yes.
Did I hear you say that you just want to rezone it now and in the future, maybe make it?
As soon as I have a tenant in there and I make the changes, the second layer of sheetrock in the basement for the fire code, there's no changes on the outside. But
So you want to move forward fairly quickly with it if it's approved?
Yeah.
I have a question for Mike. I know one of the concerns of the neighborhood is that, I'm sure, I believe they are opposed to a duplex, but what they're really afraid of is a fourplex. Is there a way to restrict it to a duplex only?
A duplex, the most restricted way to do that would be to zone it as RS2, and in a duplex or a twin home would be required to go through a conditional use permit application. An RD would make a duplex or a twin home a permitted use without further public hearing.
Okay. Other questions?
It's not my intention to take it any farther than a duplex, but.
Others that wish to address the council on item number 28? Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Brent Norgard. I live at 1301 South Lindenwald Drive here in Sioux Falls. And I'm here as one of many members of the neighborhood here tonight. In fact, I'd just like to recognize them by a show of hands so you can see who's all here. Okay. And I just want to let you know that this is not a personal thing against Verlin and Lisa Fast. I am actually new to the neighborhood. I just moved in last August. So I haven't been here as part of all the other requests that have been made. We are very empathetic to their situation that they're in right now, and I certainly wish them the best. This is about preserving the integrity and the value of our largest asset, and that's our home. Neighbors that all signed a petition opposing this rezoning. I went to all the neighbors. And 16 of 19 neighbors in the 250-foot radius around this property all signed a petition in opposition to this request. And 2 others also signed it that are outside of the 250-foot radius. A copy of this petition was mailed to you by email, and you guys had a chance, hopefully, to read through that on some of our reasoning behind the opposition. We all purchased our homes in this neighborhood with the understanding that it was all zoned for single-family dwellings. And although the home in question is certainly a reasonable transitional property, it was clearly zoned and developed for RS1, and all the property owners purchased their property knowing that. There are no other transitional properties or any other homes along 22nd Street that are zoned anything other than RS1 west of Sertoma. Rezoning, we believe, will reduce property values of other homes in the immediate neighborhood. We don't know the exact percentage of that impact, but we do know that it will be greater than 0. Values of single-family homes in neighborhoods with a mixture of single-family homes and duplexes or multifamily homes are typically less than in neighborhoods with only single-family dwellings. All homes in the immediate neighborhood are single-family homes. The homes that are referred to in the drawing and previous discussion are across 2 busy streets and across Sertoma and 22nd Street to the east and south of this neighborhood, where there is a cluster of multifamily homes. The block that we're on is all single-family homes. We believe also that our rezoning to this property in the immediate neighborhood is a slippery slope. One of the planning commissioners mentioned that since this property was already approved for conditional use for assisted living, that it shouldn't make much difference to go ahead and approve it for a duplex. And that's exactly why we shouldn't allow the rezoning, because that would open up other options for other property owners that would want to rezone their property to a duplex or other multi-tenant properties. Also, we do believe this is an example of spot zoning. The neighborhood is clearly divided at 22nd and Sertoma. The development is different here than it is to the south and the east, and all of the homes are of like kind of single-family dwellings. The home that was referred to by Mr. Fast near Sanford Hospital, my understanding is that there, although there were some questions about the rezoning, no neighbors showed up in opposition to that, and it was approved, and the changes were made there. I want to make one final point, that there is an uncertainty of future owners with this property, and we're concerned that could lead a developer to come in and buy the property. Mr. Fast might not have the intention of renting it or turning it into a fourplex, but if he no longer owns the property in the future, it could certainly, a developer could come in and buy it and subdivide it into 4 units and rent those. And with this new zoning, that would be permitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? No, thank you very much. Others that wish to address the council on item number 28? If not, is there council discussion or action on item number 28?
Yes, Mayor, I reluctantly make a motion to deny rezoning of item number 28.
Okay, you made a motion to deny? Okay, the motion is to deny. Is there a second?
Second, let's.
Let's second it. Further comments on that motion to deny? Not, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my primary concern in this whole issue is in regard to property rights. Throughout much of our country's history, we've had a focus on property rights. So we talked about in the Constitution, in the 5th and 14th Amendments. However, granted, in recent years, property rights in our country have become more and more diminished. I can understand the situation for the neighborhood there, concerned about property values. But at the same time, I think that the primary focus should be on property rights.
Further comments, Pat?
You know, this is kind of a difficult situation because I think when you look at the map, I think you can understand where he's coming from and wanting to try to do something else with this property. I myself live on a street that, in a modest neighborhood where the first 2 homes on my street are twin homes, and I live 6 houses down from that. And I have never once heard my neighbors indicate that they think their homes are valued less because of the 2 twin homes. And I know that the homes in my neighborhood regularly turn over, and every time they seem to do pretty well on their home sales. To me, what's more concerning would be to have a home in the neighborhood in disrepair and that have it continually get dilapidated. It would cause more damage to my value of my home than having a duplex next to it. So I'm compassionate for the applicant. However, I do believe that this would be zoning to we should be rezoning to RD1, not RD. If I got that right, Mike? RS2. And my question to Mike or Gary is, can we amend that to do that? And I'd like to hear back from the neighborhood and if they've considered that thought. Because I completely see your concern on a fourplex. But where are you at with it if we were to do RS2?
Name and address.
Herb Jones, 1308 South Lindenwald Drive. Our concern, I think, very much like Brent just explained, is it's a single-family residential neighborhood. Everything there is, from the day the first house was built on. We don't see a need to change the zoning for that property. And we don't understand the value that it would have to the community or to the neighborhood to rezone it for duplex or fourplex. And if the reason you would rezone it is because of financial hardship, you may have a lot of questions, a lot of people coming for rezoning to you.
If I might, I wouldn't think that a financial hardship is really a consideration. I think the consideration that, I believe, what's a school, Mike, what are school zone? Are they, is that industrial? Institution?
This particular school zone institutional.
So, you know, it's institution to the south, to the southeast, it's RD, and I'm not sure what the church is zoned, but is that RS2? So, you know, I'm not seeing that as being a far stretch. Mike, as you're there, if it were RS2, would that be considered spot zoning?
I think the issue is yes. At least my interpretation would be yes. And again, I'll go back to the premise that when this development was brought to us in 2001, it was all intended to be developed as single-family detached. Unlike the development to the southeast was brought in with specific land uses of single-family and then the twin homes along Sertoma. And that's the way it was brought from the very initial get-go. And so I think there is a difference, at least in my viewpoint.
Further questions? We've got a motion that's been made and seconded to deny item 28. Is there further discussion? Bob Jameson.
One thing I think we need to understand, there's a difference between twin homes and duplexes. Twin homes typically are owner-occupied because they have a common wall that divides them, and you can have individual ownership on either side. Typically are not rental properties. Duplexes typically are rental properties. They may not be rental properties to start with, but the long-term effect is they become rental properties. And that's the concern I think that neighbors share, that this will become a rental property and not just an owner-occupied duplex.
Further comments? Got a motion to deny that's been made and seconded. See no further comments. All in favor of denial will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
No.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Benninga?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. The motion to deny has been approved. 5 yes and 3 no's. So item 28 has been denied. Item 29.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving a grant of conservation easement.
Good evening, Kevin Smith with the Office of Public Works. The proposed ordinance would approve two documents. The first is entitled the Conservation Agreement between Menards Incorporated, the City of Sioux Falls, and the East Dakota Water Development District. And the second is the actual conservation easement itself. Essentially, this would allow Menards to restore a degraded segment of Slip Up Creek on property owned by the City of Sioux Falls. I will entertain any questions if you have.
Questions of Kevin on item number 29? Not others that wish, Kermit?
Yes, is a representative from Menards here tonight?
The gentleman who was here at first reading and at the informational is not available tonight. That was Tom O'Neill.
Oh.
Do you have another question?
Well, because in the Argus today, it said that there was a $68,125 civil penalty against Menards. And then we've been told it's a $300,000 fine. I was just wanting clarification on what's going on there.
I don't know the terms of the penalties that Menards faced as a result of the administrative action by the EPA, but again, we're here tonight to discuss or to seek approval of the ordinance to allow the placement of the conservation easement on our property. But we can certainly follow up with Menards and get that information to the City Council afterwards.
Then I also did have some more questions about, once again, this is according to the Argus, that Menards was destroying part of a stream during construction of a store to the tune of 1,400 feet of running stream is now replaced with a 66-inch drainage pipe. Is that correct?
They placed a drainage pipe underneath what I believe is now part of the parking lot where a stream was, and that is the purpose of the 3-to-1 mitigation that they are proposing to do on our property.
Because I guess I was just wondering about if this really did destroy the stream, because you can have a stream go through a pipe.
Again, I can't really comment on what led us to this evening, other than we are seeking approval of the ordinance to allow placement of the easement on our property.
Yeah, I wish we could have had somebody here to be able to answer these questions.
They're valid questions, but what led us to this point, I don't know that it's germane to the request that's been made.
Well, I guess I would say that it definitely is, because with the limited amount of information I have, I'm concerned that we're having some regulatory excess here on the part of the EPA. And I guess I don't want to, I don't want to confirm this if that's what's going on. Because this reminds me of the problem that farmers sometimes have here in South Dakota with wetland situation. And so sometimes, farmers believe there is regulatory excess by the EPA when it comes to wetlands and the use of their own property. And so this is the concern I have here about the situation with Menards, that we're having regulatory excess.
I'm not really in a position to criticize or comment on the EPA and the enforcement of federal law regarding wetland mitigation or destroying of wetlands.
And so that's why it's even more important to have somebody here that knows what's going on.
Gerald.
Kevin, I believe when the gentleman was here a couple weeks ago from Menards that some of this was already discussed, and he agreed, saying that he had gone through this situation in other locations and certainly understood where we were coming from. And I believe that's probably why he's not here tonight, because he knew 2 weeks ago when we discussed this, he already had the answers to some of the concerns that the city needed to face. And the fact that we have no jurisdiction over the EPA is pretty cut and dried. And I think we need to move ahead with what our ordinance talks about and how we ought to rule on that only.
Pat?
For Councilor Stagger's benefit, I think the gentleman from Menards also indicated that he thought that their ultimate cost now was not any more than what it would originally cost them to have mitigated the...
Yeah, I do remember that. But also at the same time, he never said anything about this $68,000. And so, So I was simply wanting to, to ask in more detail about what's really going on here. Yeah.
Bob,
Kevin, much has been made about their lack of getting the permit, but did in fact they move dirt and change the course of the waterway and alter a natural waterway in the process of setting up their site development?
That is correct.
Thank
and
you.
And as Tom O'Neill from Menards pointed out, even if they had had approval to do that prior to having done the work, they still would have had to have performed some mitigation somewhere. It may not have been a 3-for-1 ratio, maybe it was 2-for-1, but as Pat pointed out, yes, they still would have had to have done mitigation.
Thank you, Kevin.
Other questions of Kevin? Not thank you, Kevin. Others who wish to address the council on item 29?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moved. Costello seconded. Motion been made and seconded to approve item 29. Further comments? Go ahead.
Yeah. Once again, I'm sorry we couldn't get some more answers about what's really going on here with the Menard situation. Because, sometimes when you take a look at these different cases, you have to try to use some intuition here to try to read between the lines what's going on with this situation. And my primary concern, rightly or wrongly, is I'm concerned about that the EPA might be engaged in regulatory excess. And because that possibility, now the city is profiting from the misfortune of Menards because of possible EPA regulatory excess.
Further comments? Motion been made and seconded to approve item 29. All in favor of that motion, yes. Opposed, no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 no. Item 29 has been approved. Item 30.
Mr. Chair, would it be possible to take a 2-minute break?
Okay, we'll give you that. We can do that.
There are 2 lots that are currently zoned office that are vacant. The balance of the property is also being requested tonight to be rezoned to office. The petitioner is Sioux Falls Surgical Physicians, and they have developed a proposed site plan that shows this property eventually being developed into 4 buildings that will be used for office or medical office purposes. And the Planning Commission has recommended approval, and this will come up for second. All these items will come up for second reading on Monday, May 5th.
Question of Mike on item number 30. Vernon.
Have there been neighborhood meetings, Mike, and what's been?
The neighbors are aware of this. There's not been any neighborhood opposition expressed that I'm aware of. And again, I'll just say that this is not considered a spot zone because it is a neighborhood that's going through a near transition.
Other questions of Mike? Let's go to 31, Mike.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1/4 mile west of South Cliff Avenue and East 85th Street from the AG Agricultural District to the Grand Prairie Estates Plan Development District, petition number 2008-0206, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 40 acres of land on the north side of 85th Street, approximately 1/4 mile west of Cliff Avenue. And the northwest corner does show a future right-of-way for the South Dakota 100 project. Dan Lemmy is the petitioner, and the proposed use of this property will be for 12 single-family executive lots surrounding a private pond water feature. This is kind of an unusual development that we haven't seen much of, and this is what's being proposed, and this is also recommended for approval by the Planning Commission.
Questions of Mike Kermit?
Yeah, Mike, when I hear about executive lots, sometimes I think of private streets. Are we going to have private streets here or not?
I believe that the proposed streets are private streets.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Further questions of Mike on item number 31? 32.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at South Minnesota Avenue, South Spring Avenue, and South Duluth Avenue between West 31st Street and West 33rd Street from C2 General Commercial and RA1 Residential District to the Chesterman Plan and Development District, petition number 2008-0320, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property includes approximately 3 acres of land, and it includes portions of Spring, Duluth, between 31st and 33rd. All of the property is owned by Coca-Cola Bottling, and over the years, they have developed this property as part of their warehouse and distribution facility, but the zoning, for whatever reason, we're not sure, never was updated. I believe what happened is that after the property was initially developed, that there were some zoning changes made over the years in anticipation of some future change. So all that we're trying to do with this rezoning is to bring the zoning in conformance with the current land uses. And we've been working with the landowner to try to come up with a way to do this.
Question to Mike on item 32, Bob Jameson.
That's the old body shop building, I think, that's west of what was Tufty, but the land to the west of that is all single family, is that correct? Is that owned by single family, or is that part of Augie's
Yep.
growth?
Can we go back to the zoning map? Yeah, the property to the west is zoned actually multifamily and office.
Okay.
Right there, yep.
Other questions of Mike on
So
item
that's
number...
also kind of a transition area there.
Right. Other questions of Mike on item number 32? 33.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 501 South Dodge Avenue from the I-1 Light Industrial District to the RS2 Residential District, petition number 2008-0313, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is an existing single-family residence. It is located about 2 blocks. It's located west of Marion Road along Dodge Avenue, north of 14th. And again, we're trying to change the zoning so that it is in conformance with the existing land use.
Questions of Mike on item 33? 34.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 2015 and 2019 South Norton Avenue from RS2 Residential District to the S Institutional District, petition number 2008-0303, amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is Augustana College and Sioux Falls Seminary. It's about 4/10 of an acre, and the intent is to develop this into parking in conjunction with a new Sioux Falls Seminary building. And this will also include a portion of West 29th Street that has been previously approved for vacation by the City Council.
Further questions? Mike on 34? Let's go 35.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 26951 South Cliff Avenue from the Grand Prairie East Plan Development District, RS2 Residential, RD Residential, and the AG Agricultural Districts to the RS2 Residential, RC Recreation, Conservation, and the Grand Prairie East Plan Development Districts, petition number 2008-0205, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 90 acres of land. Don Nix is the owner petitioner. It is located on the west side of South Cliff Avenue between 77th and 85th Streets. And this also includes a future right-of-way for South Dakota Highway 100. In working with the petitioner, as well as looking at the surrounding development, he has come up with a plan that does show this being developed into residential. Drainage area will be a part of this, as well as future commercial and the right-of-way for South Dakota 100.
Questions of Mike on a 35? Kermit?
Yeah, Mike, it has down here, we're going to have a regional detention pond. Would the city be paying for that, or will the developer be paying for that, or split?
A regional BMP, the city acquires the property from the landowner through our drainage fee revenue that we collect.
Further questions? 35. 36 then.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East Madison Street and North Potter House Road from the AG Agricultural District to the Canterbury Heights East PD, RD, RS2, and the RA1 residential districts, petition number 2007-1220, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is approximately 120 acres. It is located on the north side of Madison Street and west of the future alignment of South Dakota 100 going north towards Interstate 90. Brian Bauer is the applicant, and this is intended to complement the Canterbury Heights development, which is currently underway to the west of this. The zoning plan that has been put together includes approximately 84 acres of residential, which will be primarily lower density residential, and the balance will be planned development that will include a mix of commercial, office, as well as multifamily residential future land uses.
Questions of Mike on 36? 37.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment, petition number 2008-0314 to Chapter 1545-070, Plan Development Districts at Willow Run Plan Development District, amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 7 acres of land. The owner is Dr. Richard Cheddar. It is located in the northeast area of Willow Run Golf Course, and the intent is to change the zoning to expand the area for future single-family residential.
Question to Mike, 37. Let's go to 38.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by defining a full-service restaurant and revising conditional use standards for on-sale alcohol establishments.
This is a proposed change to the city zoning ordinance that would address on-sale alcoholic beverage establishments. Currently, the City of Sioux Falls requires any new establishments which are licensed to sell alcoholic beverages for consumption on the premise to have a conditional use permit. This includes bars, restaurants, and casinos. The proposed ordinance that is being considered would establish a new land use defined as a full-service restaurant, which would have a separate type of land use approval process. And any use that would meet the definition as a full-service restaurant would be allowed as long as it's not within 100 feet of a residential zone, residential use, would be allowed without a conditional use. And when a conditional use permit is required, there would be 4 criteria that would have to be followed. They would have to provide a menu, hours of operation, a security management plan, and a floor plan that would depict the dining area, kitchen, and separate area for alcohol service and consumption. The intent of this proposal was to separate full-service restaurants from an on-sale alcohol establishment, so there would be a separate track in terms of the process for land use approval. And ultimately, all these would still be coming before the City Council for the licensing process. We had a substantial amount of discussion about this today at the City Council informational meeting, and I think unless there's specific questions or discussion that you want to go through tonight, I'll just kind of stop at that point. We do know that we have been asked to consider some potential amendments, and again, we had that discussion today at 4 o'clock as far as what we might consider before coming back for second reading.
Questions on 38, Pat?
Mike, these amendments, I mean, whenever they're drafted, put together, will you be able to disperse those out to us as soon as possible?
Yeah, I think the intent would be to try to get those as a draft of those as quickly as possible so that you would have a chance to look at them.
Thank you.
As soon as we can.
Other questions on 38? Let's go to 39.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, correcting clerical errors in certain rezoning ordinances.
We have a ordinance that would clarify or correct 4 zoning actions that have been previously approved by the City Council. And after the petitioner filed these, we discovered that there was some corrections that we needed to make to the legal descriptions.
Questions of Mike on 39? Let's go to 40.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving a total cost capital lease.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. Tonight we have a short presentation, 5 slides to go over items 40 and 41. They are for the capital leases for a dozer at the landfill and 5 motor graders for the street department. So if I could walk through both, and then we will answer questions. All right, first and foremost, I also have Gene Rowenhorst here with Finance and Galen Huber, our Street Utility Manager, to answer any more questions that you might have. All right, first and foremost, what is a capital lease? It essentially is a lease that transfers all the benefit and risk to the city. We also, the reason that it is called a capital lease is that we have the option to purchase it at the end of the lease. And so essentially what that means is that means we're booking debt and we go through the ordinance process. What you'll see is that what we've structured here is for the 5 motor graders is that they would be a capital lease, but it is essentially a financing package through an equipment vendor with the intention for us to buy the machines at the end for $1 at the end of the lease. Total cost capital lease means that we are also going to include the routine maintenance that will come with the pieces of equipment, which that is for the dozer at the landfill, the size of the service vehicles that it takes to adequately maintain those. For that size of equipment, we typically ask the vendor to do that through the terms of the lease, and so we'll take you through that. These are based on generally accepted accounting practices that we're working with finance. Next slide. Okay, first, give you a little background on the dozer. This would be lease purchase. Again, total cost, which includes the maintenance of a landfill dozer. For those that know their dozer sizes, that's either a D8 T-Cat or a 1050 John Deere. The current dozer that we had is on a closed-end lease. We don't have the option to purchase it. It will go back to the vendor, and it's scheduled to turn back in August of 2008. We use them for a number of functions. I won't read those to you, but they are used actively. In a given year, we normally, with a 6-day operation, we put about 2,500 hours on them. So they're actively used. We expect to put 10,000 hours on this machine in a 5-year period. The options that we looked at, again, with finance was to purchase, and if we were to purchase through the OSEP plan, it would be a $700,000 capital purchase. We can lease or do a lease purchase. We have budgeted for this lease. The key here is that we believe that the lifespan of this dozer will be longer than 5 years. That's why it's advantageous for the city to look at a package that we can purchase it at the end for $1. Okay, next slide. Okay, some additional, and again, this is just one scenario. We haven't gone through the bid process. With your support, we would expect to bid these machines on May 8th. And so, but this is just a financial example. If the machine was actually worth $700,000 with an interest price of 4%. Again, this is very similar to what we did last year with the 2 landfill scrapers. Okay, that would bring that as an annual payment of $157,240 for 5 equal payments, which would equate to an interest of about $86,200 for the term of the lease. There's been obviously several changes in the equipment industry. Just again, a look back on the landfill scrapers. When they were purchased 5 years ago, they were purchased for approximately $350,000. At the end, when they each had 10,000 hours on them, we auctioned them for that same amount. And so the equipment costs have certainly gone up, but certainly they've also maintained their value. The 2 new ones that were just purchased, they had a combined package of about $1.5 million, and that finance cost last May was 5.25%. With the change in interest rates, we expect to have much more favorable interest rate here for this bid. Again, we can either do this as if we had the dollars available, which at this point with the landfill gas project and other capital expenses coming, we're recommending that we do this over equal payments of 5 years, and this would also help smooth out our rates and keep a piece of equipment that has a fairly high purchase cost of smoothed out over the economic life of the machine. Next slide. Okay, next item, which is 41, this is to address purchasing 5 motor graders for street maintenance. We currently use 4 in our summer program. We also, as you know, we rent 36 for a 6-month time period for the snow removal operation. And so these machines would be on the street campus year-round, which will allow us to reduce the number of machines that we rent for the 6-month period. The motor graders do a number of items, and right now in our current system, as we grow, we have 25 miles of gravel roads that are maintained weekly. We blade the tops of the levees 10 times a year, as well as a number of other street maintenance activities, and we just, as everyone knows, just came out of the winter season. This would be through the Fleet Revolving Fund, and so one of the options would be is if we were to purchase them outright. The next option is to lease, and then if it's advantageous based on the lifespan of the equipment, if we should look at the purchase, we're recommending that we set this capital purchase lease up with the buyout of $1 at the end of the lease. Next slide. Okay, again, to highlight that this is for the street department, it would be, the lease would actually stream through the fleet capital fund, and then it would bill back to street. That's how Public Works is set up. Again, here's the scenarios. If each machine was approximately $175,000, we were able to finance them through the vendor at 4%. That would equate to 5 equal payments of what's listed there, $196,550. for a total for a total cost of $982,750. This would have an interest cost on it of about $107,750. Next slide. I know it's late, and so I certainly take questions.
Mark, I had a question about the dozer. It said in there, I didn't understand it, but it has to do with the maintenance on it now. Are we buying a maintenance contract with the vendor? Is that what we're doing? So we're actually paying for the maintenance?
We do. We pay for the maintenance. They come out and they service the machines every 250 hours.
Okay, the maintenance is one thing, but how about a major, let's say a transmission, let's go a track, let's go something like that. Is that on them or us?
I believe that's on us. You know, there is general maintenance wear and tear, but if there's an excessive use, I mean, I could certainly bring back the detail of what the contract would lay out for the maintenance for second reading. But it's my understanding that it's all the lubricants as well as the transmission, and we do that every 250 hours. Again, every year we put about the range of 2,000 to 2,500 hours on the machine.
Are there warranty on these machines for a certain period of time, 60 days, 90 days?
Let me bring all that back to you.
Different parts of it would probably have different lengths of warranty on it.
Yeah, let me bring that back to you for second reading.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Other questions of Mark on item 4041, Pat? And Gerald.
Mark, is the 4% interest rate, is that what you're kind of anticipating will be at?
We've heard ranges anywhere from ranges in the 3s to the 5s.
Okay.
And so we're...
Are you bidding it in your RFP? Are you going to be bidding it both ways for a straight lease and then a lease to purchase, or are you just going to bid it one way?
I believe we do lease to purchase. Okay. We intend on, in addition to that, Gene? No. Our intention is to set it up that we can buy it for the bargain price of $1 at the end.
And then the dozer is to replace an existing dozer. The 5 motor graders, are those replacing the, did you say the 4 we have now, or are we taking those out of service, or are they in addition?
What we've got now for year-round use is we have one that we're renting that the lease expires in 2008. We have 2 Cat 120s that are both 1984 models that we use as little as possible because their maintenance needs are high. And we also we did just surplus one last year, and so we're adding more gravel. You know, the expectation is that we blade the gravel roads, the levees, and the alleys on a frequent basis. And then also the offsetting costs. If we were this last year for the rental of the motor graders, it was about $1,650 per month, plus an hourly charge. And so each machine that we don't rent will save on that process about $20,000 to $22,000. So in our normal rental cost for the 5 months a year, we'll save $100,000 that way. And we've also already budgeted to replace these other machines. So, you know, this is good long-term for the street department. We'll also reduce our rentals from 36 down to 32, because we normally run 37 blades for the snow removal operation. Okay.
Gerald?
Okay. Correction, Galen, we did surplus 2 last year, so it's a 5 for 5 year-round.
Gerald?
I just had a question for Gene, if he could respond. We're anticipating that the lease cost is going to be 3 to 5%. What's our cash investment return on the money that we have invested? What kind of return are we getting currently?
For our cash fund, down around 2. It's not real good.
Bob Jameson.
A question. The routine maintenance is going to be provided by the supplier. How would that compare to the cost of doing those maintenance in-house?
What we've done, Counselor, on the motor graders when we rent them for the seasonal operation, we've always included that. However, that size of machine in our fleet operation, we believe we can do those straightforward for the motor graders. However, just with the way we run the operation at the landfill, the size of that equipment, that takes a whole next generation in service vehicles that we don't currently own, and also we've got a significant number of the machines already at the landfill are already on these types of service contracts because the vendors are already geared up for that. So it's been a philosophy that was taken years ago, and so for this capital lease purchase, we didn't look at that.
I guess what I'm looking at is which one is more cost effective for the city long-term to have their own servicing in-house or to contract it out, because that's typically, if you contract out, it costs you more, but I'm just curious.
I think one of the things we can offer is that we're right now in the middle of a search for a new fleet manager, and when we bring that new fleet manager on board, he'll obviously be reviewing all the programs, and we can specifically ask him to look at that area. Okay.
Other questions, Pat?
Mark, point of clarification. Okay, so we're buying the maintenance on the dozer, but we're not buying it on the motor graders?
That's correct.
Okay.
Other questions of Mark on item number 40 or 41? Seeing none, let's go back and is there a motion to set the hearing date for May 5th for items 30 through 41?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson, second. Further comments on that motion to set the hearing date for May 5th for items 30 through 31? Seeing none, all in favor, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted. The hearing date has been set for May 5th for items 30 through 41. Item 42.
Deferred action, a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Annexation 2008-01-03, southwest corner of South Dakota Highway 42 and 6 Mile Road.
This property is approximately 1 acre in size. It does include an existing bar called DJ's, and the petitioner, property owner, is requesting this annexation. It is obviously adjacent to the existing city limits directly to the north. And we had deferred this last time because we were working with the applicant, the representative for the applicant, on the resolution. And tonight we would like to request an amendment to the resolution which would delete the sentence which had previously been shown as 3B, which says that access to South Dakota 42 with the South Dakota DOT on 6 Mile Road access will be determined based upon the city engineering design standards. We felt that after working with the petitioner, there are no redevelopment plans at this time, and so really it's not necessary to have that statement in there at this time. And we do have a representative here tonight on behalf of the application. Staff
Questions
is
of Mike on
recommending
item number
approval.
42. Bob Litz.
Mike, we're sitting here on a highway, and then what I assume is going to be an arterial road someday with our design standards. Looking at this corner, looking at the junction that it's on, you know, it's going to be a high volume, high traffic area. Already is, and it's going to get more so as time goes on. Is it going to stay a bar? Is there any thoughts about the access for this thing as time goes on? I guess I understand why you'd want to get rid of those two access South Dakota 42. Number one, the city's going to own it, and the other one would be the design standards, which would put the access, 1,300 feet down the road, which obviously this property doesn't have. What's going to go on with this? Is it going to stay a bar?
I think the short-term use is going to continue to be at the bar until we start to see the Galleria development move further to the east up on the north side. But again, the petitioner rep is here tonight, and you could certainly ask him that same question.
I guess I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about access in the future. Obviously we're going to be moving pretty fast down Arrowhead Highway, and then 6 Mile Road is going to be, is that an arterial road? Eventually it'll be.
Yep. But we would be working with this redevelopment just like any other redevelopment site of once a development plan is proposed, then we would address utilities, access, all those kind of things.
Okay, so Mike, I'd like to continue, if everything around this has been annexed into the city, it's just this little corner hasn't been?
No, just to the north. It connects to the city limits to the north, the shaded area.
Okay, so we're coming across the road picking this
Right.
up. Okay.
Other question, Bob Jameson.
What type of of a liquor license do they hold?
I believe they have a liquor license issued through Minnehaha County at this time.
So when they come into the city, then that reduces the number the city can have the next time the census is taken?
That's correct. That's correct.
Does the county gain one then?
I'll ask the city attorney.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I believe they do because it automatically becomes a city license. But the county has licenses for sale. They have an inventory of licenses now.
Kevin?
You know, usually a request for annexation is tied to some type of a proposal to redevelop the property or develop it in the first place. I'm just curious what the motivation of the applicants are.
I'll try to be brief on that and answer this in less than an hour at this late time. Sam Assam here. I'm here representing the petitioner. The reason for, the principal reason, I own the adjoining parcels that aren't in the city, and initially my client who has that, I was bringing these all forward in a single, obviously there would have been two petitions, but because I've been unable to finalize or get a firm answer with respect to access points on the large parcel immediately to the east, I have elected not to bring my annexation in. So, but the petitioner is bringing this in because approximately 2 months ago, maybe 3 now, he had a break-in, and right now it's in that area, it's sheriff only. And the response time was fairly lengthy because of the recent annexation not only of Parapasu's development to the north, but also their development to further to the east and behind Willow Run. Also, another parcel that's been annexed by Van Buskirk and I believe Gene Johnson from Brandon, where the new school is going out there. We know that patrols are going to increase out there because it is a bar. He'd like the quicker response time, and that's one of the principal reasons as well. So,
Vernon?
Who is the applicant, the petitioner?
for the property here, I believe it's Johnson Properties, I think is the entity.
Who's running the bar?
The principal, Justin Johnson.
Other questions, Sam, on 42D?
Mr. Assam, would you remind me, so from a police fire and rescue standpoint, how, I guess I'm wondering how much, I'm wondering with the incredible area they have to cover now, I was wondering how much of a burden that would be to our police and fire department to...
Well, we had to, actually planning met with the various departments. Fire, I think, had the strongest concern, but since there's a volunteer fire department less than 6 blocks away, that's not a great concern on that. Again, with the police, there's substantial amount of residential development going on out there right now. I don't think it's going to be any burden or present any burden on them whatsoever.
Other questions?
Just to clarify, within the resolution, what is proposed as the new 3C and 3D are the responses that we got by discussing this with both fire, rescue, and police.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I'm not sure I understood what 3C and 3D is.
Okay, in the resolution that would be based on the amendment of striking the sentence that I had discussed earlier, the 3C says that fire protection, water supplies, including mains and hydrants, have to be in place prior to any building permit on this property that would require a commercial sprinkler system, either for redevelopment or for expanding the building. So in other words, if you need a commercial sprinkler system, then we have to have those water features in place. And then in terms of police, The police response time will be limited for the existing business for this annexation area until additional police are available within the new growth area. So what we're saying is that, yes, we'll make every effort to respond in a timely fashion, but if they're expecting 2 or 3 minute response time, we can't guarantee that until we get further out into this growth area.
Mr. Mayor? Mike, have we looked at all with the sheriff's office to see what kind of police calls have come to this property?
I have not, but I've, again, just based on what the applicant has said, has happened in the past. But no, I don't know that we looked at the actual sheriff's log or talked about it. I haven't.
The incident I'm referring to was a burglary.
Any other calls?
Pardon me?
Any other calls that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of any, no.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Others that wish to address the council on item number 42? Is there a motion to approve? Is there any motions at all?
So move.
Okay, Costello moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Who made the motion? Did you make the motion? I'm getting late. Jameson made the motion. I'm late here, isn't it? Pat, will you second it? We got it. Seeing that, is there a motion to amend? We wanted 3B, Mike? They didn't need that?
Yeah, the sentence that starts out with access to SD 42 would be struck from the resolution.
Is there a motion to delete?
I'm sorry, can you repeat who made the motion in second?
Was it Jameson? Was it you, Bob? Or was it, who was it?
I think Councilor Stakers made
Did you really?
motion.
Well, got it.
You didn't recognize my voice, huh?
How could I make that mistake with you? I am so sorry on that one.
I mean, I didn't speak your
God.
name.
I'm the offended party here.
Man, you got a right to be mad at me. Let's go back to who seconded it. Jeez. Who was who was the second? Let's start all over again here. It's another day, just a couple hours. Who second? Kermit, you made the motion, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you,
and
man.
Also, I think you're going to be surprised, but I also seconded it too.
Well, now we got a problem.
Now you got a problem, yeah.
I got to look at Robert's rules, but it doesn't come up very good in that one. So, do we have a second? Let's go back.
I'll second it.
Okay. Pat Costello.
Because I want to go home sometime.
He's seconded. Now we got a motion now. We're talking about, we need to delete 3B. Is there a motion to delete 3B?
I so move that we delete 3B. Knudsen, not
is there a second?
Stakers.
Is there a second? That
Second, Costello.
Costello again. Jeez, good. You're with me all the way here. Okay, we got the motion to amend 3B out, and everybody knows what that one is. All in favor of that motion to amend will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Council members Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knudsen?
Yes.
Litz? Stakers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. That motion has been approved. Now we're back to the main motion as amended. We got a motion made and seconded. Question?
Just a comment that I know there's probably a concern with some on the council regarding the number of police calls that may or may not have happened at the location, but I would just point out there probably are citizens there, and if they need help, we ought to respond. So I'm going to vote in favor of this.
I'd just like to point out that the city loses a liquor license and gains a responsibility in this. So where the gain is, I just don't know.
Okay. Got a motion been made. Second. All in favor of the motion to approve as amended? Okay, goodbye.
One of the concerns I think that was addressed when they were talking about the changes in the liquor laws was when you annex property into the city and we bring a liquor license in, and never having had an opportunity to review that license before it's brought into the city is a flaw in our law, which, in other words, we're going to be bringing a license into the city without ever having reviewed the applicant's, and I think that is a flaw that needs to be looked at in the future. And so I am concerned about that type of thing. I have no record of the history of this bar or anything, but we have never had an opportunity to look at the applicant before he's annexed into the city.
Vernon.
And I agree with Councilor Jameson. I have no idea what the record of this bar is, and I'm concerned about voting on this with not knowing how often the Sheriff's Department's been out there, what kind of calls there have been. That concerns me. We're taking on something without knowing all the facts. So I don't think I can support this today, but knowing those facts in the future, I may be able to.
Further comments? We have a motion made and seconded to approve as amended. See no further discussion. All in favor of that motion to approve?
I would offer a substitute motion.
Okay.
That we defer this to allow us to have some input from who the applicant is for this bar, because we're taking him without any background information.
Is your motion to defer like till May 5th or 12th?
Right. May 5th.
May 5th? Okay.
Second, Kavanaugh.
Okay, Kavanaugh seconded that motion to defer item 42 until May 5th. Everybody understand that?
I think
Motion, substitute motion has been...
Mr. Mayor, I think there's a gentleman that would like to speak.
Name and address, please.
My name is Justin Johnson, 509 North Dubuque Avenue. I've owned DJs for, I think, 3 years now. We've had the break-in, the police been out there maybe 2 other times that I'm aware of, as far as police calls. I do own another bar in Sioux Falls, so as far as, the Uppercut I've owned for 10 years. I just was hoping to get in, like Sam said, for the response of the police department in the last break-in I had.
Questions? Okay, thank you. We've got a substitute motion before us that's to defer item 42 until May 5th. Further discussions on that motion to defer? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to defer item 42 until May 5th will vote yes, those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
No.
Jameson?
It's been an evening of lots of surprises. I've got to say yes, I made the motion.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
No.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Okay, item 42 has been deferred till May 5th. 5 yes and 3 no, so that will be deferred. Now we're at item...
Mr. Mayor, just
Yes.
a quick question. Mike, can you have a report from the Sheriff's Office so we have a better sense from them?
Will do.
Thank you.
45.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
This is an 80-acre parcel of land on East 69th Street, the south side of 69th Street between Southeastern Avenue and Sycamore Avenue. And the applicant is Ted Toms, and we have also been working with him on the resolution. Staff is recommending approval of this annexation petition.
Questions of Mike on item 45? Others that wish to address the council on item 45? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Jameson.
Jameson moved.
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. Further comments on motion to approve? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve item 45, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 45 has been approved 8-0. Item 46.
A resolution determining use of a design-build contract for the purchase of playground equipment at Prairie Meadows Park and Harmadon Park.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Kelpie Maris with Parks and Recreation. This resolution will allow us to use the design-build process to construct playground equipment. We have used this process before several times in the past when we were constructing multiple playground structures. This process is advantageous to us because it allows us to compare apples to apples in the playground industry. While some of the play components are similar, they are still very different. And using this process, we feel that we get more play value for our dollar. By using this process, and it also expedites the process and allows the design of these playground structures to happen at the same time as the bidding process, which will ensure us to have playground structures in place at Prairie Meadows Park for the opening of Journey Elementary School this fall. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Bob Litz.
Who designs these things for? I mean, who would typically, give you a proposal for a design build on a playground equipment?
We typically get proposals from playground manufacturer representatives. They represent different manufacturers. They will put together a binder for us. These are the professionals in the industry. They understand all of the play components, all of the voluntary standards and guidelines set forth by the ASTM and the CPSC. They know their products. They know the specialty components that they can put on these and still meet the minimum specifications that we've set forth in our spec.
Do we have to pay for the design if they don't get the award?
No.
Very good, thanks.
Further questions? Calby on 46. Others that wish to address the council on item 46? Is there a motion to approve?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson, Kavanaugh seconded. Knutson made a motion, Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve? Vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 46 has been approved 8-0. Is there a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Put whoever you want.
Brown seconded.
Yeah, there you go. You got that right. I'm with you on that one. All in favor, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga? Brown?
Yes.
We are adjourned.